Well, welcome back everybody. My name's Andrew and you're watching the Kelley's Country Life. So today is plumbing wrap-up day. At least I hope so. Got a little bit of stuff to get into. So everything has set up nice and neat. If y'all watched the last episode, we've now run water out to the house. All good there. I've been checking everything. Still don't see any leaks, so everything looks really good. Got it up to full pressure and it's been sitting overnight. So good to go. But now we're jumping back inside to finish this plumbing up, and then I've got to make a special rig to tie to the water line outside so we can start pressure testing everything. But let me show you the dilemma that I have and where we're going to start today. So a lot of y'all have given me suggestions on the shower. The big issue that I have is now that I have my vent stack run through a 2x4 wall, you can see there's basically no room right there, and my washer trap hookup, these big 3/4 inch lines, look, I can't even really tuck them in the wall. These T's and fittings are just too big. A lot of people suggested running your pipes up and over. It's just not going to work because of these big sanitary T's and the 3/4 inch line. So I have got to come over to where we're going to be putting, you know, our shower cutoff knobs later. And I've also got to come up in here and hook into my hot and cold water washer hookups. The only thing that I can come up with, thanks to a suggestion from Casey over at Henderson's How To and Review, he's got a YouTube channel as well. He said you may need to extend your shower wall out. So that's what I'm going to do. I just got back from hardware store, picked up some 2x2s are called, which is 1.5 by 1.5 strips. We're going to put those in, bring the wall out exactly 1.5 inches. That will allow me to run this plumbing over up into here, continue it over into this cavity to where we're ultimately going to be hooking up. I do have one concern with it that I'll discuss a little bit later with y'all, but this is the only option that I really see right now. Up and over, going this direction, none of that's just feasible at all. So let's get to work. We got to tear some stuff out and rebuild. Y'all thought I left it unplugged, didn't you? It's been a while, but nope. Alright, well I've been out here quite a while. Look at this contraption right here I just came up with. The only thing that worries me about it, well, two things. One, line hammer, which I will put hammer resters up there. Probably need to clamp these pipes. But two, look at all the fittings. This is the only way I could make it work. So now I got to come back and actually strip this wall out on all the studs, put nail guards over all this. But this is all I could come up with. So now I have my hot and cold water. I had to crisscross them because of the way they come out of the concrete right here. So I had to put these T's and all this craziness in. And then I also had to set it up to where it could come over and feed eventually the shower right here. So my goodness, what a contraption. I will be pressure testing this for days before the inspector ever gets here, just to make sure all fittings are actually glued. Make sure I didn't miss nothing, and not leaking. Short, not the rest. You know, I got to thinking probably one of the easiest ways to stop line hammering here is to fill these voids up with some of this rubber butyl. It's very sticky. It's rated for PVC. And it's rubbery. So, I seriously doubt I ever get line hammer down here after doing this. All right, so all I've done here is tied my hot and cold water line that's coming outside to feed my hot water heater, and this is where I'm going to filter and send cold water into the house. We'll set me up a filter station right here. But the reason I just tied these two together is because I have to pressure test this system. And instead of putting two fittings on two individual lines, figuring out how to pump both of them up, now I can pump up one single line in the house because they're all tied together. All the lines will get equal pressure. Then I can come back out here and cut this off once siding is up on the house, and put my fitting to go right up to the hot water heater that'll be somewhere right in this range, and then run out to my filter station that'll be right here as well. And all this will wind up getting insulated, so it's blocked from UV rays in the sun, even though this is only gets sun in the afternoon over here on this side of the house. And I want to keep my pipes from freezing in the winter. I'm also going to have an outlet coming off the sub panel right here that I can plug in a heat lamp to keep my filters and this little bit of piping warm should we get any very cold days in the winter. That occasionally happens, but not very common down here in Florida. All right, so what this is right here is a clean out that I'm gonna put on the back side of the house. This is not where the septic leaves the house and goes toward the septic system. That's only about 30 feet away coming out of the kitchen on the other side of the house. But we ran this out here in case we do a future add-on. It's already properly sloped into the house. We're gonna size the septic system for a potential future add-on. But I wanna go ahead and put a clean out here because there's a toilet right there. And if I have a clean out on the other side of the porch, literally only 30 feet away, you can start snaking back up into the house very easily. That, along with the traps underneath the sink and any other potential clean outs that I may have to install, see what the inspector says, I can very easily cover this back corner of the house, and that's where all the plumbing is other than the very front sink. All right, y'all, well, that's pretty much a wrap on the rough end plumbing. The only thing left that's questionable that I don't know if I'm gonna have to have installed now or not is the shower hookups. And the reason I did not hook those up here is because I'm going to be hiring out the tile job, and I kind of wanted the tile guy to come in and decide where we should set everything, give me some of his thoughts on the process. So I'm hoping the inspector's gonna let me go ahead and do my rough end pressure test for plumbing and for venting, for the pressure side and vent side. So everything is hooked up. This has all been set up overnight. I just made some new connections on the pressure and vent side. I'm gonna let that glue set up overnight again. Then I'm gonna start pressure testing. So there's two different ways. One, I got to look at these washer hookups. I think this would be a great way to pressure test right here. So because I have both these lines connected together with that loop that I just showed y'all outside over there, I can actually hook up to this side with air or water. I'm probably gonna do both. And I can pressurize this system up. I've got a gauge on this side. I can watch the pressure. And if it drops at all, I've got to start hunting a leak. If it sits, we know we're good. It actually only has to sit for 15 minutes according to code and how we've already pressure tested a while back, but I'm gonna actually let it sit for days. That'll make me feel a lot more comfortable. So I've got some hookups coming in the mail to put air on that. I've already got a homemade hookup to where I can put water on it. Code says, if I'm reading correctly, 50 pounds of air. We test the system on, and up to 80 pounds of water. I'm probably gonna do both. It's probably best to start with air in case you do have a leak or you forgot to glue a cap on and it blows off, so you don't wind up with water everywhere in the house, you know what I mean? Then move on to water. I'm gonna let it sit for days and have everything prepped and ready for the inspector when he comes. Now, as far as the vent system goes, we'll actually fill that whole thing up with water. You give it water head pressure, It doesn't need but a couple PSI, I think 5 at the most, to test the system. I've got a plenty tall enough stack to do that, and then you walk every single fitting down, and then that clean out you just see me putting out there, I can bust that cap and drain the whole system within just a few seconds. So we'll do a special pressure testing episode coming up. Now the rule is anytime I make a break in the system, like for example whenever I install the shower, I've got to pressure test the system again. After the shower, I won't be touching the system again until we're actually installing cabinets, faucets, sinks, things like that. And then obviously I'll run it up again or just kind of cut the water onto the house, check the connections, because the water is going to come in at 50 plus PSI anyways from my pump and well over there. So still a little more plumbing to do, but not until we pass a rough-in inspection. Everything's on the outside of the house now. Inside is done. Coming up in the next episodes, it's about to kick in gear, y'all. It's about to get exciting. We've got everything from window companies, spray foam companies, sheet rockers, everything else. I've been calling, working all this, got to get a tile guy out. We got a lot going on coming up here before long, a lot of information to fill you in with. It's going to get busier and busier over the next several weeks. The house is going to dramatically start changing. So coming up, I've got to, next episode, just start buttoning up a long laundry list of things that I have to do before we get to inspection and drywall. Then we're going to move outside. It's supposed to cool off next week. Like really cool off, 50s, 70s, gonna be beautiful working weather. We're gonna start putting in windows and siding so we can finish up the electrical boxes on the outside and start passing all these multiple rough-in inspections so we can get these subcontractors over. That was a mouthful. All right, hopefully y'all are getting excited like me. It's about to start changing. Now's the time to really start watching. We're getting past the boring and monotonous same old junk every day. You're gonna start seeing some dramatic changes behind me over the next month and a half. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode.